Somebody had called the animal control and notified them that there was a dog being left outside with no food or water. You know, makes sense because when they rescued him, he was 30 pounds, so you can imagine how skinny he was. Reggie and I lived in Florida for about 4 years before we decided to make the move to California. We spent most of our days inside. I didn't realize how much work needed to be done because he was so fearful. My ex and I, he worked out of town a lot and I was at the trailer alone, and so, you know, his idea was to get a guard dog, and that's, you know, what he was. I didn't really want anything to do with him before, but basically there was this one time after adopting him, I was giving him a treat, and, you know, he didn't really know how to take a treat, and you can tell he was still very, like, just always hungry, always trying to get something to eat. He took the treat, but he kind of, like, nipped on my finger. It was obviously on accident, and, like, literally everybody basically told me that, you know, it was in his breed, him being a pit bull, that I needed to watch out for him and that he was aggressive, but it wasn't like that at all. It was that little incident that I realized, I was like, holy shit, I was like, I need to I need to look out for you know, this dog, my dog. He has good muscle on him, you know. I always joke and call him Muscle Butt because he just, you know, his breed being an American Staffordshire Terrier mix, you know, people look at him, they're like, oh man, that's a pit bull, and they see muscle.
So they say
it's really just like it's natural, and it's really amazing to see. But it is, you know, it can be scary.
Sure.
So you just kind of want to stay away from that. But, you know,
right,
it wasn't until we moved to California, you know, I already had him for 4 or 5 years, that we really started to, they call it exposure therapy, and that's where you're just simply, you know, you're taking out your dog and having them experience these normal things like on a walk. We never wanted to do any of that in Florida because he was so reactive and lunging at people. He was just like, it was a lot. And, you know, now looking back, of course, I know that was a huge mistake because instead of trying to help his reactivity, like exposing him to normal things, we just kept him inside, and that didn't help him. A lot of people do assume that Reggie's going to be the one to hurt somebody. It was actually Bruce who, you know, ended up hurting Reggie in one of their, like, tussles. Maybe one would think that Reggie would react or retaliate, you know, because he's bleeding out his eye, but he didn't, you know? He just has improved so much, and he really does love being outdoors and exploring. And so that's really also beneficial for me because I have a lot of anxiety and fears myself, and, you know, when I go outside and when I exercise, and Reggie loves to do all this stuff, so it really has benefited us together.
Yeah. Do you like sweets?
Yeah, I think so. But he mostly likes meaty things, you know, like ham, ground beef, stuff like that.
Human food?
He's a normal guy dog. And anytime we go to the Starbucks to get him a whipped cream treat, the puppuccino, I always try to save the cups because then, you know, I have the whipped cream in the fridge, so then I can give him a puppuccino anytime. That's a luxury. Ultimately, even after adopting Reggie, I did have a lot of hesitations, but he really has made my life better in so many ways. Like, I'm very reserved and, like, shy, and he has brought me out of my shell, you know, in a way. He's really forced me, and it's great for me, it's great for him, for both of us in growing, because I want to do all these things, but, you know, now I get to do it with him. So I really do think adopting him has been, you know, the best decision that I've ever done. Reggie has changed my life for the better. He has been there on my darkest days, you know, and he'll be there on, you know, my better days. He's always there, and that is something that I'm very appreciative of him. So I do, you know, I owe him a really great life. Well.
Okay, cool.
The thing broke. My cheap bed for him. It wasn't cheap. It was $60. But it had like a sunroof on it, and even though he was scared of the sunroof, so I took it off. He's still sitting on
Treat
it.
him with ham.